Jai Sriman Narayan. Jai Sriman Narayan. Jai Sriman Narayan. I pay my obeisances to my spiritual master, Srimad Jagat Guru Sudarshan Acharyaji Maharaj. I pay my obeisances to Lord Sri Ramanuj. I pay my obeisances to the Purva Acharyas. I pay my obeisances to the 12 Alvars. I pay my obeisances to Mother Lakshmi. And I pay my obeisances to Lord Sriman Narayan. I welcome all of you here physically at the Sri Narayan Dham in Durban, South Africa. I welcome those that's watching this live feed locally, nationally and internationally. And I welcome in advance those that's going to be watching this discourse when it is posted on YouTube and the various groups from around the world. We are still immersed in our topic on creation and that the universe is Lord Narayan's classroom. And we've stated consistently that Sanatan Dharma is absolute science and not a particular sect or religion. On Thursday, we qualified this statement by reading a verse from the Bhagavad Gita where Lord Sriman Narayan, in his form as Lord Sri Krishna, stated that whatever form you worship in, I will make you steadfast in your worship to that form, however you are worshipping me. And then I made a statement that there are many gods and one Lord, and Jessica opened her eyes wide in a quizzical fashion. The Guru know what he's saying. Many gods, one Lord. Okay? So there can be only one Lord, and there are 330 million gods. These gods are the cosmic administrators, and over time, man have started worshipping gods as revealed by prophets. And Lord Sriman Narayan is saying that however or whomsoever has created whichever institution and looks upon me in a form that they see me through as God, then in that form I make them steadfast, but ultimately they are worshipping me in my original form as Lord Sriman. Jessica, now you understand. So gods can be many, but the Lord can only be one. And I've stated that The Vedas are the oldest scriptures, and it would be scientific for the oldest scripture to state that whatever gods are there, they are actually me. Is this reasonable logic satisfied? It is the foremost constitution of this universe. The Vedas is the foremost constitution of this universe, and the promulgator of this constitution himself states categorically in the Bhagavad Gita that I am the origin of all gods. I am the origin of all gods, and this constitution is the first and foremost constitution in the universe. Then is it both legal, scientific and logical that this is how it would have supposed to have been? It cannot be any other way. If we are stating that Sanatan Dharma is not a prescribed religion, we are stating that Sanatan Dharma is creation, and within this creation there are many religious systems. And we are saying that ultimately Sanatan Dharma is the custodian of all systems that exist on this planet Earth. Then that has to be stated first. That has to be stated first. And the Vedas have been declared without any doubt to be scientifically the oldest and the foremost scripture and the oldest civilization still in existence. There are many ancient civilizations that have become extinct now. Those of you that have studied history, or if you want, you can go to Google and you can Google all the ancient civilizations. The only ancient civilization that is still in existence is Sanatan Dharma. Notwithstanding the fact that although Sanatan Dharma was practiced initially and the origin of the practice of Sanatan Dharma is in a terrain called Bharat, which the Britishers named India. So the origin of this information is in a land called Bharat, which is currently known as India. This India was captured for almost 1,000 years. 700 years by the Muslim Mughals and 300 years by the British. Had it not been the absolute system, then in 1,000 years it would have lost its identity. Would it not have? 1,000 years is a long time for a culture or tradition that has been usurped or hijacked and indoctrinated, firstly with Islam and then with Christianity. However, Sanatan Dharma prevailed. And it prevailed because I've stated that the Vedas is a living scripture. It is an eternal scripture. Eternal means it has no beginning, no middle, and no end. And this 1,000 years of the land, of the source of the scripture, having been hijacked, and the inhabitants or the population of this land terrorized, murdered, killed, and indoctrinated through other religious systems, due to the Vedas being eternal, the status quo of Bharat could not be changed as the source of Sanatan Dharma. All of you understand this? You can change an entire tradition in 250 years, maximum. 3 generations. That is why you can kill tradition, you can kill, but you cannot kill the culture of Sanatan Dharma. Because the culture of Sanatan Dharma is eternal. It's like the law of gravity. It exists. No one can kill the law of gravity. Similarly, no one can kill Sanatan Dharma. So Sanatan Dharma, in view of all these evidences that I've now enlightened you with, Sanatan Dharma is the absolute science. The oldest language, the very first language, has been proclaimed to be Sanskrit. Now, if this language called Sanskrit is spoken by the Creator, then this language has to be perfect and absolute. Will that not be the case, Jai? The Creator is absolute, His language should be absolute, and the information through that language should also be absolute. And anything that is absolute is scientific. Scientific means knowing things as they really are. That's what science means, knowing things as they really are. Now this language, again, is now being used in the Western world. There are some countries that are doing their morning prayers in Sanskrit, because Sanskrit is a language that opens up the capacity of storing information within your system. Sanskrit has the potency to store absolute information within its system. And this again, material science have proven to be true. In a few years' time, all computers will be programmed in Sanskrit, because Sanskrit is the absolute language. And if computers will use the absolute language to perfect itself in communicating to the world, because everything is computer driven now, isn't it? Isn't every aspect of your life computer driven? Even your car, your phone, whatever you do is computer driven. And if that language that is used to program that computer driven accessory that's a necessity in your life, then ultimately you are endorsing attribute of language that Lord Sriman Narayan is the absolute entity. Are you not? Is material science not? Because the world language will now be, the substratum of the world language will be Sanskrit, which is the language spoken by the Lord. So will the Lord not be speaking through the computer? Will Lord Sriman Narayan not be speaking through the computer to the entire world. And this corroborates what we've been stating since time immemorial, that the Supreme Lord is Lord Sriman Narayan, and he pervades the entire universe, and the pervasion of the universe, when he pervades the universe, he is called Vishnu. Vishnu means all pervading. Everyone is clear up to this point? So, Sanskrit has grammatical law. Like every other language, Sanskrit has grammatical law. How many of you studied Afrikaans? The Afrikaans have grammatical law. It was a foreign language, but it had grammatical laws. You remember any of the laws, Acharya?
No.
You don't remember Lebender Forum?
Yeah, I know Lebender Forum.
You don't remember Vedanta Forum?
I remember.
Oh, you remember. But you said you don't remember. Everyone can remember after the Guru remembers. You're supposed to remember on your own. So similarly, Sanskrit has its own grammar laws, and the grammar spiritual master for Sanskrit was Panini, P-A-N-I-N-I. He was a sage, and he stated that when two or more words denote the same object by denoting the same object through its different qualities, is called coordinate predication. Is called coordinate predication. And if you understand coordinate predication, then you will understand through absolute science when you say, I am a man, I am a woman, I am an Indian, then you are justified in stating your identity through your body. And I'm going to explain, because Vishwadar Ramanuj Das, since I met him, he has asked me over 10,000 questions. And I was waiting for him to ask me this question for 3 years. Somehow, he did not ask. So, I have stated, and Gurus have stated, that you are not the body, you are the soul. And to understand that you are not the body, but you are the soul, you have to go through a process called self-realization. When you undergo a process called self-realization under the guidance of a bona fide spiritual master, then you start disassociating with the transactions that the body makes mentally. You start disassociating with the results of the transaction that the body makes mentally. And that is called self-realization. At this point, you know you are the soul. You know you are the soul. And this is where I expected Vishwadhar Ramanuj Das to state that I may be in contradiction of what I am saying, because I am saying we are not the body, we are the soul. And I'm also saying that the body is impelled by the three gunas. The body is impelled by the three gunas, and although the soul is the agent for the actions, the actual actions is done by a secondary energy, which is the three gunas. So if Jessica states that I cooked the lunch, then through understanding that you are the soul, who cooked the lunch? The soul was the agent, the body was impelled through the three gunas to cook the lunch. So if Jessica cooked vegetable, then she was impelled by Satagun. If Jessica cooked meat, she was impelled by Tamagun. And if Jessica just mixed stale food and warmed it and gave it to satisfy, she was in Tamagun. Okay, let me say it again. If she cooked pure vegetarian meal, then it was in Satagun. She was impelled by the mode of goodness. When she cooked meat, she was impelled by the mode of passion, Rajasic mode. And if she just mixed up last night's food, rebraised it, threw in some Tanya and gave it to satisfy them, that was in Tamagun. Tamagun is stale and putrid food. Okay? So we are saying that the agent, which is the soul, impelled one of the gunas for the body to cook that particular food. So can Jessica say, I cooked this food? But can you always say that I, the soul Jessica, impelled by Satagun, cooked vegetable for Satish? Should that be the language? Is that language practical? No, Jessica. Because as soon as you leave this ashram, you tell Satish, I told the Guru off today. You won't say, I, the soul Jessica, through my mouth, through Tamagun, told the Guru off today. Isn't that it? So it's not practical. But we say that Sanatan Dharma is absolute science, and Sanskrit is absolute, and we are saying Sanskrit is the source of all language and all understanding, and the understanding of all grammar. So if you understand grammar, the grammar laws that emanated in Sanskrit When Sanskrit, which is the source of language, evolved in the other languages, the laws will also go with it. And this law is called coordinate predication. So for you to live in this human body, underline the word live. For you to live in this human body, can the soul exist without the body? No. Because I said, live in this body. So the soul and the body becomes inseparable. Which of these two is eternal, the soul or the body? And the body can be changed timelessly. But at this point, the soul and the body is conjoined and inseparable. Which would be the attribute and which would be the substantive? Substantive would mean which would be eternal. The soul. The body, whilst you in this universe, particularly for the purpose of this discourse, I'm discussing this body. Whilst you are alive, this body and the soul is inseparable, but it is different. But it forms one unit. Doesn't it? Body and the soul is distinctly different, but it is sustained in one unit. The soul is spirit and the body is matter. The attribute of the soul is the body. The attribute of the soul is the body. The soul in this gross universe can only be known through its body, which is its attribute. The soul in this Sri Narayan Dham today can be known through its attribute. Jai Bhai can be known through his attribute, which is his body, as a handsome 25-year-old male boy. He can be known through his body. But who we are referring to in reality through this body, satisfied? The soul. So when Jessica states, I cooked lunch, then through the attribute, which is Jessica's body, we can identify that the soul is identified through the attribute which cooked the lunch. So therefore, you can state only after understanding the difference between the body and the soul, satisfied, that I did this and I did that. And when you say I, the attribute, the body of which we identify the soul. Are you understanding? Or is it too deep? Say what? You understand? So, Sanatan Dharma is absolute science. All that is contained within Sanatan Dharma is absolute. All the prescriptions in Sanatan Dharma is absolute. when we understand Sanatan Dharma, then we ourselves become absolute. So I want to read a verse from the Bhagavad Gita. I hope my transcriber is not confused on the other end. I may have a long conversation with him. Verse 32, chapter 10. Verse 32, chapter 10 of the Sri Ramanuja Gita Bhashya. And this is Lord Sri Krishna speaking. Of creatures, I am the beginning and the end and also the middle, O Arjuna. Of sciences, I am the science of the self, which in effect is the individual and the universal soul. Of those who argue, I am fair reasoning. I want to read this again. Of creatures mean what? We generally refer to a creature as an animal or an insect, isn't it? But the real, true scientific meaning of creature is one who has been created. And that includes you, Jessica. You're a creature. Jessica, you're a creature, okay. Alright? Not only the cockroaches, the rats, the bats and the cats, Acharya, you yourself are a creature because you have been created. And anyone that has been created is a creature of the creator. Okay? And Lord Sri Krishna is saying, of creatures I am the beginning and the end. Which means, if the soul is eternal, which aspect of creatures he is speaking of? 8.4 million species of bodies. And he is saying, I am the beginning and I'm also the end. Then he is saying, which we have been saying, which Sanatan Dharma has been saying since time immemorial, and I have been saying since I've started this mission, that Sanatan Dharma is absolute science. Now the Lord himself is stating, in the second sentence, of sciences, I am the science of the soul and the universe. So, if the Lord is the science of the soul and he is also the science of the universe, is there room for any other scientist? All of you understand? And then on his third verse, he is saying, of those who argue, I am fair reasoning. And fair reasoning means the absolute truth. So when there is a debate, then the absolute truth of the debate is the Supreme Lord. Now, can you find another system that can declare these living truths? Are these not living truths experienced by every one of you here in this satsang and those that's watching and those that's going to watch this discourse? This sentence, is it alive? Is it alive? It's a living truth. And the first declaration is by the Creator himself, which once again corroborates without a shadow of a doubt that Sanatan Dharma is the absolute system and the absolute science, and the mother of all science, and also the mother of all religions, because all religious systems have to originate from a source. Everything has to originate from a source, and that source is Sanatan Dharma. And I want to conclude with chapter 37, verse 37 of chapter 10. Of Varnasis, I am Vasudeva. Of Pandavas, I am Arjuna. Of sages, I am Vyasa. And of seers, I am Usama. And the reason I chose this verse, because I've been consistent in stating that the Lord originates the Vedas, then the Lord speaks the Vedas through its origination, then the Lord compiles the Vedas himself. And you can hear the Lord stating that of sages I am Vyasa. Vyasa is Veda Vyas, who compiles all the Vedas. So the Lord is corroborating here that all the Vedas have been spoken by him, expounded by him, and also compiled by him. These Vedas have no author, specific author, but it is compiled by the Lord himself. All of you understand? So this system is a system that declares itself by itself through the Creator. There is no secondary declaration of the Supreme by a prophet or a saint. There are systems where a prophet or a saint has declared through revelation who the Lord is. Here the Lord is revealing himself first hand. Here the Lord is revealing himself first hand. And don't you think that if a Lord exists, then his existence should be given to his children first hand and not through a secondary revelation, in order for it to be absolutely scientific. You want to hear about me from me or from Dhana? If you have to hear from Dhana, what will you hear?
Secondary information.
And knowing Dhana, you understand? But if you heard from me, then there will be no doubt about what I stated. But if you heard from Dhana that I'm wearing a white dhoti, what color you think by the time Dhana told you this dhoti would be? A black dhoti. And you ever saw a guru wearing a black dhoti? You understand the contamination of information if it is secondary? And the absoluteness of information when it is primary. You understand? So this is Sanatan Dharma. This is Sanatan Dharma, and I want to, let me see if I can find that verse. In the interim, Jessica sent me a message this morning, I think, or in the middle of the night. When you sent me a message, Jessica? Middle of the night. And what was the gist of the message?
For prayer for the current situation in the country.
For?
Praise for the current situation in the country. For COVID.
Okay, so Jessica asked me to pray specifically for our current situation for COVID-19 in our country. Unfortunately, Jessica does not understand my morning prayer. But I see she likes it and she comments. Every morning, if you go on my morning aarti, which has been brought down from 9 o'clock when I was living the good life, to 7 o'clock, now that I am working. And Jessica, you notice that prayer is not only for South Africa, but it's for the entire world. Alright? But this affected her so badly that she wants me to even do or pray more, which is a good thing or a bad thing. Shiva? Yeah, I don't want to ask Satish, it would naturally be a bad thing. Alright? I wanted to ask somebody neutral. Alright? So it's a good thing because her heart is with the suffering. Remember, she's been in the front line of this COVID from the time this virus or bacteria entered our systems. Alright? So my advice would be that whoever has the opportunity of downloading the Vishnu Sahasranam, and I'm recommending the Vishnu Sahasranam by Acharyaji Swami, because he is a bona fide spiritual master and well versed in Sanskrit from the Sri Sampradaya, and mantras must be chanted in a particular frequency for it to be effective, and in view of the fact that Sanskrit is his first language, then obviously through that dynamic he'll be able to, his chanting will be in the right frequency. And that frequency, we send this chanting around the world every day. There's an excess of 1,000 views, which is not a lot, but it's enough to show that this chanting is permeated from the African continent around the globe. So when a frequency travels, it envelopes the entire globe. Because if a phone picks it up in South America, it had to travel from here to South America like a iron and a magnet. And on its journey from here to South America, that frequency would have expressed its full potency. So, from day one up until today, every day the Vishnu Sahasranam by His Holiness Swami Chinnajaya permeates this universe. I'm not stating how positive, but I know that we have made an indelible difference in terms of the status quo of the coronavirus. Also, in our satsang, people have attended this satsang, they picked up coronavirus from wherever they were. They went on a program and I personally walked them through on a daily basis up until the time they recovered. I personally, I phoned each and every disciple that had coronavirus. Sanat, did I phone all the devotees that had coronavirus?
Yes, every day.
Okay, every day. Alright? And whoever had coronavirus from my satsang, after their 14 days came back to satsang, Jessica. Alright? I'm not saying that we are a cure to coronavirus. But Lord Narayan is the cure for every virus. I'm saying Lord Narayan is the cure for every virus. And if the entire universe in tandem should synchronize the Vishnu Sahasranam for 12 hours, doesn't matter on which end you are, on which hemisphere is day and which hemisphere is night, there would be no coronavirus. There would be no coronavirus if all the continents in tandem synchronize the plane of the Vishnu Sahasranam, this virus can be destroyed. But virus slash bacteria. Alright? And then again, I don't want to get political or technical, but not everything about the corona is what it seems. All the stats that you are getting is not what it seems. Alright? Just remember and underline this in your mind that the World Health Organization gave a ruling that there must be no post-mortem. Alright? And put 1,000 question marks all over why there must be no post-mortem. And as the years or months move on, the absolute truth behind this disease will come. So we're living in a world, we're living in Kali Yuga. There will be heads of institutions who will be seeking to do things to influence 75% negativity in this period of time, as this is the season of Kali Yuga. So you'll have state presidents, you'll have heads of institutions that will be harming society and injecting evil, injecting our dharmic principles within society. All of you must be aware of this. Are there any questions? No questions? Jai Sriman Narayan.